Today we'll be covering the charm, beauty, and European flair of Disney's Riviera Resort. Hello and welcome to the Let's Go to Disney podcast. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Lucy.
Today is Monday, November 10th, and you're listening to episode 114, Resort Spotlight, Disney's Riviera Resort. So we would normally be doing news, as you know, but we just did news yesterday when we recorded episode 113, and really not much has happened in the last 24 hours. So we're recording pretty much a full week before this airs, because when this airs, we're actually going to be on the Wish. And, obviously we wouldn't have been able to record on the trip itself, so we're recording now.
Yep, we are leaving in just about 36 hours at this point. So we're going to be packing this evening and tomorrow, and then we leave bright and early Wednesday morning. We have a 6:10 a.m. flight out of Regina, but it's actually a pretty small airport, so we don't have to be there super early. 4:30ish should give us plenty of time.
Yeah, and Regina Airport has, I think, like 8 gates, right?
If that.
Yeah, I think it's 8. And, there's like a Tim's up there, like a Tim Hortons, right?
Yes.
Where we grab a coffee usually. Normally we'll pack like peanut butter sandwiches for the kids. They'll have that with some water while we have a coffee. And yeah, if you get there super early, you're just waiting because line of security is never that bad. And even if it was, we have our Nexus card. So
Exactly.
we have like the short queue. So yeah,
and then we usually have
no reason to go that early.
Exactly. And then we usually have a bigger breakfast once we get to Calgary.
Yeah, exactly. It's a short flight to Calgary. It's like just over an hour. And then, we have a like almost 3-hour layover. So we're just going to...
I'm not sad about. I like having a little bit more time with the kids so that they don't feel rushed.
We have to go through security again because we have to go through U.S. Customs in Calgary.
So the more time we have to get there, the better for that.
And it's nice to just sit down and have a breakfast. And
Agreed.
Yeah, totally. With that said, let's get into today's main topic, which is Disney's Riviera Resort. So the Riviera is actually pretty new, like when you consider it or compare it rather to the other resorts on property. It's located in the Epcot area of property, but not where the Boardwalk and Yacht and Beach Club are located. It's actually a little bit further out than that, but not by much. But you still can't walk there. It's right on the Skyliner route, so it has quick access to both Hollywood Studios and Epcot. And this is a DVC resort, but like all other DVC resorts, it can be booked not just by DVC members, but regular guests as well. Like all other DVC properties, this means it is considered a deluxe resort, and that comes with all of the perks associated with that, including the high price tag to go along with it. None of the rooms here are cheap by any means, right? It's just the reality, but it is a beautiful resort that's pretty compact, which is a really nice thing. It only has one building, so everything is pretty close together. And it just doesn't feel spread out like in the slightest.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a nice size and everything is nice and close, which is a big perk in our opinion. Now, a little history on the resort. And like Oliver said, it doesn't have much history just because it is one of the newer resorts on property. It opened back on December 16th, 2019, which, as you know, was just very short few months before the pandemic closures. So this means that many guests with stays booked there during those months had to push back their stays, which only added to the hype of the resort because of the demand that was so much higher when the Walt Disney World Resort as a whole started to reopen after the pandemic closures.
That's right. Yeah.
This would have been definitely the top talked about one for sure.
Yeah.
And it is a DVC resort. And just as an interesting point, it was actually the first DVC resort to have resale restrictions. So without going into the whole DVC history lesson, historically, when you purchased a DVC contract on the resale market, you could use those points at any of the existing DVC properties. Riviera was the first to limit Riviera resale contracts to stay at the Riviera, meaning that members who purchase Riviera resale contracts may only use those points at the Riviera and not the original DVC resorts. Since then, the Disneyland Hotel villas and the cabins at Fort Wilderness have also followed suit with these restrictions.
Yeah, that's exactly right? So this reduces, in my opinion, and a lot of people hold this opinion, right? The value of the Riviera contracts on the resale market. And not only that, but this is something that prospective owners need to consider. So if you're buying direct from Disney and, of course, nobody goes into a DVC purchase thinking that they will sell or like not anytime in the near future, but it is something you need to keep in the back of your mind when you go to resale, if you ever go to resell, rather. You may not get as much as some of the other resorts because the person purchasing those points can only use those points at the Riviera.
Yeah.
And yeah, on that note, we're probably due for a DVC episode to kind of talk about the ins and
Agreed.
outs of the
Yeah.
program and who it could be right for and who it might not be right for. But with that, that's not the topic of today's episode. So let's get into the theming of the resort. So as the name implies, the resort is inspired by Europe and the Mediterranean. The front of the resort has palm trees lining the roadway leading to the portico, which is like essentially the covered area where vehicles park under and that you would get out and take out your luggage kind of thing. The roadway is all interlocking stones, not just pavement, which kind of just gives the whole front of the resort a more elevated vibe, I would say. The portico where guests are dropped off again upon arrival have like these high arches that have like a light cream color and wrought iron accents as well on the outside, and like a dark Parisian style roof as well that just adds to that kind of, like I was saying, that European vibe. The walkway that leads to the front door is also interlock stones with a giant cream colored circle with the letters, like large letters RR, obviously standing for Riviera Resort, which is a nice touch. I think it looks really pretty.
Yeah, I agree. And then the lobby at this resort is beautiful, but very low key. It's not large and grand like you're going to find at other resorts like Wilderness Lodge and Animal Kingdom Lodge. It definitely gives more upscale boutique hotel vibes. The floor in here is a cream-colored marble color with dark accents. And then in the center of the space, there's a blue and yellow pattern rug with chairs and couches where you can grab a seat and then just take in the atmosphere. There's a large modern chandelier light thing in here as well. And then the space has a mix of modern as well as classic 20th century furnishing as well. There are these thick white columns in here as well, which are also cream colored. And then the ceiling is the same color too, and the designs as well. The walls are all light as well, so it just feels very like bright and airy in here. I like the vibes in there. It always feels and like clean.
Yeah.
Just although all Disney resorts feel clean, this one just feels like light and clean, I guess is the words I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's like you said, it does feel like a boutique hotel in the sense that it's upscale.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, small,
Bougie.
quaint. Yeah, definitely bougie is a good word for it too. Yeah. And then the whole exterior of the building has a light cream color as well. The rooms have balconies with wrought iron railings, and they give you views of either the front of the resort or the back of the resort, which faces towards like the Caribbean Beach Resort, which is right next door. The roofs are the same color as the portico. We're not really doing it justice. The theming is very subtle, but it is beautiful. And like we're saying, like just upscale looking, just in general. In terms of layout, like we were saying earlier, the resort is really compact. So everything is fairly close by. There's only one main building, which loosely is shaped like an incomplete O, I would say, or like a zero, where the bottom opens up to the back of the resort where the pools are located. When you walk into the lobby, the check-in desks are on your right. There's also a DVC info desk nearby as well. On the left side, you have La Boutique, which is a merchandise store that sells mostly Riviera-specific merchandise as well as DVC merch. And they also have some food items as well, being that it's a DVC resort because there's kitchens in there, right? And then just past that, you have Le Petit Café, which is a coffee shop, a really good one, but we'll get into that.
Yes. And then at the back of the lobby, there's a staircase that leads to the lower lobby. There are doors back here that lead to the back of the resort. But down here, if you turn to your left and then follow the hallway that eventually elbows right, it's going to bring you to Primo Piatto, which is the resort's main quick service location. And then right next to that is Bar Riva, which is considered a pool bar, but it actually has a really substantial menu. And then part of the seating is indoors. So we like to call that one more of a restaurant/lounge situation in practice.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
And then right outside of these two restaurants is the main pool and the kids' splash area. And then back outside the back doors of the lobby is the quiet pool. And then to the right of that, you have a beautiful archway that has 2 floor-to-ceiling mosaics that are just absolutely stunning. We've taken many photos in front of these with our daughter.
With Sophia. Yeah, totally.
One of them is themed to Tangled, and it has Rapunzel's tower, and then all of the floating lanterns, absolutely stunning. And then the other one is themed to Peter Pan, and it has the Jolly Roger, the outline of London, and Peter and the Darling Children flying towards the second star to the right. Yeah. Also beautiful, just breathtaking.
Yeah, exactly. And like Lucy said, it's floor to ceiling. So it literally starts on one side, it goes, onto the ceiling and back down the other side. We're not doing it justice. And there's actually water fountains in the middle too.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just a really, really nice space. Yeah. And just beyond that is essentially, if you keep walking away from the resort, is the Skyliner station. And on that note, it's a small resort. So the bus station is just near the front of the main lobby as well. And then the building itself has 10 floors, with the top floor being home to Topolino's, which is a signature table service restaurant for dinner, and a character breakfast in the morning. But we'll get to dining in just a bit. Now, let's get into the different room types and categories. So this being a DVC resort, the rooms are studios and villas. For the studios, Riviera has a special category that they don't have at any of the other Walt Disney World resorts as of this recording. And these are the Tower Studios. So these are specifically designed for just two guests, so double occupancy, and they're really compact. Like that's for sure. Okay. So right when you walk in the room, there isn't much of an entry. You're pretty much right in the middle of the room. On your right, you have a tiny little kitchenette with a microwave toaster and a beverage cooler. And it's a really tiny one, right? And a couple of drawers as well and shelves just mounted on the wall. And then attached to that is the sofa, which turns into the queen pull-down bed. Okay, so there's no bed in here. Like when you walk in, it's up, right? So you have to pull it down. So that's kind of like
that's compact.
You're not used to seeing that when you walk into a hotel room, right? There's usually always at least one bed. Here there isn't. You got to pull it down.
Yeah.
But then on the far end of the other side of the bed, you would have a small counter space where there's a coffee maker and a chair that you can actually sit in. And it's like a little tiny counter space, like enough for just one person. And then right next to that is the window. And then the tiny balcony is right next to this as well. There's a little wall space in between the balcony and the bathroom that has a TV stand, right? And the mounted TV is on the wall. And then the bathroom is right next to this. It has a standing shower, single sink, and a toilet. These are the toilets themselves, or the bathrooms rather. They're quite nice, right? Very light colors in there, giving them just like a nice, clean, streamlined look. And the whole room kind of has that feel as well, just light colored walls, hardwood floors, light natural wood furnishings. These are pretty, but again, like the caveat here is they're small. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. And these are definitely made for two people. And if you don't need much space or you don't spend much time in your room, these could be perfect. But having said that, even given their tiny space, they are quite expensive, starting around $450 per night during the quiet season and then only going up from there. These would actually be perfect for Oliver and I. We don't usually spend much time in our room at all, and we honestly don't need much space. So if we were down in late August, early September for food and wine, this would definitely be a good option for us.
Yeah, for sure. A little expensive, but almost on par with the tower rooms over at
Coronado. Yeah,
exactly.
So next up, you have the Deluxe Studios. So these are going to be your typical DVC studios, and they are going to sleep up to 5. They feature one queen bed, one pull down, and then a 5th single sleeper that pulls down from the TV stand, just like you see in the other resorts across property. These have 2 categories: resort view, which gives you views of the parking lot and the front of the resort basically, and then the preferred views, which overlook the back of the resort and has views of the courtyard, lake, landscaping, pool, or the Skyliner. The unique thing about these rooms is that the resort view rooms actually give you Epcot fireworks views, because the front of the resort faces Epcot. So some would argue that this is actually, in fact, a better view for a bit less money.
Yeah, I would say that's exactly right.
Yeah.
There's really, and because of that, right, there isn't really a bad view at the Riviera in that respect, right?
That's
It's
true,
either great views of the back of the resort, which is obviously beautiful, or fireworks. So yeah, it's hard to go wrong either way.
Agreed.
The Deluxe Studios here obviously have a very similar color palette as the Tower Studios, just with much more space, right? The washroom here is split as well, and it actually has 2 showers, which is awesome. So you have a stand shower with the toilet, and then separated you have a sink, and then a second shower tub combo. So essentially you could have 2 people getting showered at the same time. For a family of 4 or 5, this could really be a godsend for sure. You know, either in the morning when everyone's trying to get out the door, or at the end of a long park day when everybody just kind of wants to clean up and crash.
Absolutely.
It's just perfect to have that split bathroom concept. The bathroom here has, again, white tiling, and it's very bright and clean, just like the tower rooms. There's a larger kitchenette here as well. You'll have a coffee maker, microwave, mini fridge that's a little bit larger than the tower rooms, toaster, and a sink as well, which is a nice addition for sure. The washroom and kitchenette area have tile and wood flooring, but the rest of the room is carpeted, right? So essentially where the beds are. The colors in here are light, and there is subtle Disney artwork on the walls as well. The queen has space underneath as well to store your luggage, right? So, which is just a nice thing. And then the pull down is a Murphy bed that doubles as a couch. When it's folded up, like the other newer refurbs around property, it just gives you back all that space, which is awesome. The TV stand doubles as a single pull down, like Lucy was saying, which is good for smaller kids, right? You can't put I wouldn't put a teenager on there. It'd probably be a little bit small,
agree,
but
yeah.
For Sophia, right? She's 7, almost 8. So that's perfect for her.
Yeah.
And then there's a table and 2 chairs as well near the balcony, which is a nice place to either sit or get some work done or whatever you're doing there. And then of course you have your balcony or patio, depending on what floor you're on, which is just really nice to have. There's always a table and 2 chairs out there, so you can have your coffee out there or just hang out. It's just, balconies are nice to have.
Yeah, exactly. We love the layout of these newer studio rooms. They're functional with the Murphy beds. The kitchenettes are nice to have just to make a quick breakfast before you're leaving your room for your park day. And the rooms here are just really nice. So it's just a win all around. You will pay for all these conveniences, though. This is deluxe prices. So rooms for Resort View usually start around $650 a night for the Resort View rooms, and then just over $700 a night for Preferred View. And of course, this is only going to go up during the busier seasons like everything else. After that, we get into the villas, which are either 1, 2, or 3-bedroom grand villas. The 1-bedroom villa features a bedroom with a king bed, a pull-down queen, and a pull-down single sleeper that is going to be up to 5 guests. This features obviously a separate bedroom that has the king, a living room area, and then a kitchen that has a fridge, stove, dishwasher, and counter space to prepare meals. There's also a table with a couple of chairs and a booth on the wall side to dine at. And the bathroom here is really nice with a large tub, 2 vanities, and a stand-up shower as well, which is accessible from the bedroom and the main area. There is also a washer and dryer in here as well. The color palettes and the decor is very similar to the studios, and then the main area is wood and the room is carpeted.
Yeah, exactly. And these start at a whopping $950 a night for a Resort View and right around $1,000 a night for a Preferred View during the low season. And as always, it only goes up from there. The 2-bedroom villas have 2 rooms, of course, with 1 king. The other 2 has 2 queens, and then a third pull-down queen that doubles as a sofa, and then another single pull-down with sleeping up to 9 guests. There's 2 washrooms in here. The first has a stand-up shower and a shower tub combo. And then the second off the master has a large tub and a stand-up shower with 2 vanities. There's also a full kitchen in here and tables similar to what you're going to find in the 1-bedrooms. Overall, they're similar, just a bit more space, right, with that second bedroom and the second bathroom. These start around $1,450 a night in the low season. And then the 3-bedroom grand villas sleep up to 12 with a king in 1 bedroom, 2 queens in the other 2 bedrooms, plus the 5th queen sleeper sofa. So yeah, that sleeps up to 12, like we were saying. And this has a large kitchen with much more counter space, including an island, a dining room table that's large enough for 12 people, a large living room area that's like separate, 3 washrooms, each with showers and tubs. And there's obviously like just stunning theming in these. These are really beautiful rooms, but extremely expensive and point heavy if you're a DVC member. So prices are going to range anywhere between $3,500 to $5,000 a night. So way out of reach for pretty much everybody. But it's fun to dream, right?
Yeah.
And of note, there's no club level rooms at the Riviera. There's just no separate club lounge at the resort. So that's just not an option in terms of room categories.
Yeah, exactly. So honestly, that's it. It's pretty simple. You have the tower studios, which are intended for 2, the standard studio villas that can sleep up to 5, and then the bedroom villas from there. Again, Riviera is unique and in the sense that the Resort View rooms get you views of the fireworks, which is awesome, but it's definitely not a cheap resort, right? Which means the cheapest rooms starting around $450 a night, and that's just for those tiny little duo studios. Yeah. Super definitely not expensive. A cheap place to stay.
Yeah, for sure.
And with that, next, let's talk dining. So we've said this before, lots on the podcast, but this is a deluxe resort. So that means typically that the dining is great. And this holds true for Riviera. They don't have actually a ton of options given the size of the resort, but what they do have is absolutely awesome. So let's kick things off with Le Petit Café, which is the coffee shop in the lobby next to the main merchandise store. It's quite small, but it is mighty. The space is white tile floor and white counters, and it just looks very nice and clean in here. There is a glass display with all sorts of tasty bakery treats that they have to offer as well, which is super tantalizing and gives Les Halles vibes for sure.
Yeah, just like over at Epcot, you have all those glass cases with all of their treats.
Enticing you to get everything.
Yeah, this is on a much smaller scale, but similar vibes, yep.
They have a really good selection of warm and iced coffees. That almond cold brew is actually pretty popular, and it is absolutely delicious. We can say that because we came all the way to Riviera for one time.
Just for one, yeah.
And they do have a good selection of pastry items as well. So think muffins, breads, eclairs, croissants, and items like macarons and biscotti as well. And then in the afternoon, they have a lounge menu that has charcuterie, olives, and a selection of cocktails, wine, and beer.
Yeah, that's right. There's not a lot of seating in here. That's something to be mindful of. Only actually a couple couple of small tables. But right around the corner, there's the Voyageurs Lounge, which has several tables and places to sit with a bunch of like Walt memorabilia lining the walls. It looks and kind of feels like a library in here, but it's a perfect place to kind of sit down and enjoy a nice coffee. I highly recommend doing that, even if you're not staying here. Like we said, we've come here for just a coffee and to go sit in that lounge.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a really nice space.
It is.
And then down to the lower lobby and around the bend, like we were saying earlier, you'll find Primo Piatto, which is the main counter service location at the resort. But we will say that this exceeds expectations and is much more elevated than your typical quick service location. So the inside is beautiful with, again, white tile flooring, cream colored walls. That's just consistent throughout the resort. Large arch shaped windows that overlook the beautiful grounds, right? And then there's booth and table seating. It's not a massive dining space, but big enough that you should be able to find a place to sit. It opens at 7 a.m. and usually is open until 11 p.m. and it serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For breakfast, they have specialty options like the croque madame, a breakfast panini, a breakfast pizza, and a frittata. They also have more typical options like, breakfast platters with all the fixins, waffles, pancakes, and similar items. And then, of course, a ton of bakery items. So think like muffins, danishes, just
all that stuff.
All that stuff. Yeah.
And then for lunch and dinner, they have the croque monsieur, artisan hearth-baked pizza, beef bolognese, tuna niçoise salad, a spicy Italian sandwich, and then typical standard options from there. So think chicken strips, burgers, Caesar salad, among a few other options. We would honestly say that the standard options here seem to just be better than some of the quick service locations across property. We may be biased, but we just certainly feel that way about this place.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely.
And then next to Primo Piatto, you have the Bar Riva. We've actually ate here pretty recently in May on our last trip, and we all really enjoyed our meal here. It's classified as a pool bar by Disney, like we said, but we would say it feels more like a restaurant lounge kind of feeling. Just think Three Bridges at Coronado or Geyser Point over at Wilderness Lodge. It's inside the resort, but the outside wall is completely open to the outside, so it definitely feels like that open air vibe for sure. Mm-hmm. The flooring in the dining room is a patterned white and blue tile, and then the bar is all blue tile, and the artwork on the wall is a Mediterranean coastline. It just feels very, I would almost say, Greek in theming.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. There's no advanced dining reservations here, though, something to be mindful of. It's first come, first serve, and it's not a big dining room, so it can and it does fill up for sure. So you could be facing a bit of a wait if you go during busy times. So think like right around peak dinner time. The menu is relatively small, but like Lucy said, they do have some really good options. The signature burger, it is made with brie, balsamic, caramelized onions, and black garlic aioli. They also have a Greek salad, a panzanella, salad with a tomato, burrata, cucumber, focaccia, and red wine vinaigrette. They also have a grilled vegetable pita and a grilled chicken pasta and a seasonal pizza as well. They also have shareable plates, so think seasonal arancini, chilled Mediterranean shrimp, and cheese and charcuterie. They do have a kids menu here as well with accessible options. So think like pasta with tomato sauce, cheeseburgers, cheese pizza, chicken strips, among a couple of other options. So kid friendly, right? Your kids are going to be able to find something that they are going to want to eat here. And yeah, this is just a solid option for a sit down meal. It's nothing fancy, but it's done well. And like Lucy said, we were staying at Caribbean Beach on our last trip, but on our last night, we walked over here and we had dinner there.
Yeah, it was perfect. And then last but certainly not least is Topolino's Flavors of the Riviera, which is again on the top floor. The dining room here is beautiful. It's carpeted floor, cream-colored walls, and elaborate contemporary style chandeliers. The outside walls are lined with windows that overlook the beautiful grounds of this resort. And there's a balcony here as well that gives you absolutely beautiful sweeping views of the grounds, the Skyliner, and the Caribbean Beach Resort. You can also see Hollywood Studios and part of Epcot in the distance as well.
Yeah. Some of it is blocked because it's like at the back of the resort, the balcony, yes. But you can still see them, like pieces of the World Showcase. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So in terms of food, breakfast and dinner here are two very different experiences. So for breakfast, it's actually a character meal named Breakfast à la Art with Mickey and Friends. This runs from 7:30 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. It's a prefix menu where you're going to get to select an entree from the available options. The prices are $52 for adults and $33 for kids, so definitely not cheap, but we will state this every single time, the food is phenomenal here. We have been here a grand total of 4 times at this point. It has been great every single time. Your waiter is going to bring you a painter's bucket to the table with various pastries like croissants and muffins and kind of like spreads that you can put on there.
like sauces.
The kids get so excited when they see this coming.
Yeah, and they do a hazelnut spread,
Yep.
so essentially like Nutella, right? Strawberry jam, I would say, and then just straight up butter.
Yeah.
And with those pastries, it's just a really nice way to start your breakfast. The adult entrees are quiche Gruyere, avocado and smoked salmon toast, classic egg breakfast, sour cream waffles, which you've had before. Those are really good. French toast, eggs Benedict Florentine, wild mushroom scramble, and our personal favorite, the wood-fired steak and eggs. Super, super good.
So delicious. It is almost like it has like this tart, savory. It's hard to describe. This is one of the best
It has like
meals.
mushrooms and onions. Yeah.
This is one of the best meals I've had on Disney property.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also, I would say, the best value of the breakfast options for adults.
Steak,
yeah, exactly. Right?
And eggs. Yeah.
Just given how expensive the experience is as a whole.
Exactly.
And then for kids, they have eggs, fruit and yogurt, or Mickey-shaped waffle dippers, which is what our kids always get. And then during your meal, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy will come to say hello and take photos with your party. They all look super cute. And it's, like we're saying, it's the best character meal on property, in our opinion, for both food and atmosphere.
Absolutely. We've had some excellent family photos with all the characters.
Yep.
It's just such a fun experience the whole time.
Yeah,
and the coffee's really good there too.
We always take a photo of the four of us with Mickey.
Always.
And that's turned into like our profile picture, and we share that.
We have a frame at home too that's very specific for that photo.
yeah, exactly. And then for dinner, it becomes a signature dining experience with a French and Italian-inspired menu, and it features a la carte menu items, right? Not prefix, which is nice. For starters, they have a gnocchi, tomato bisque, romaine salad, pork belly, fazzoletto, heirloom beet salad, frito misto, ricotta, and escargot. And then for entrees, they have striped bass, filet mignon, duck à l'orange, chicken sugo rigatoni, bouillabaisse, red wine braised beef, and then classic sole meunière.
Absolutely. And then for dessert, they had the tiramisu creme brulee, warm chocolate cake, fruits of the forest with black currant mousse, and sorbet and a stone fruit cheesecake. The kids' menu has accessible options as well, like pasta and tomato sauce, grilled steak, and grilled chicken breast. And then that's actually it for dining. So like we said, not too many options, but that's not surprising because this is a compact resort. But Primo Piatto is a solid quick service. The Petit Cafe is an above average coffee shop, and Topolino's is the best character meal on property for us. Hands down. And Bar Riva is super solid as well. So honestly, they do really good there when it comes to dining.
Yeah, agreed. Yep.
And then with that, let's get into pools and recreation. The main pool at the resort is named the Riviera Pool, so no fun name there.
Yeah, it's just the Riviera
Standard.
Pool, yeah.
So the pool area is actually not heavily over-themed, but it does have a big water slide and a column tower and then a fake rock formation, which your kids will love for sure. And then the pool is also a decent size as well. And then there's a splash area named S'il vous plaît right next to it for the younger kids, and it's decorated with Fantasia characters.
Yeah, and directly outside the back doors of the lobby is the Beau Soleil pool, which is a small rectangular quiet pool for much more kind of relaxed vibes. And as always, you have movies under the stars, right? That's every day but Fridays. These are on the lawn in the back of the resort. Current showings are Sunday, Tangled, Monday, Cars 2, Tuesday, Beauty and the Beast, the original, like the cartoon version, not the live action. Wednesday is Zootopia, Thursday is Frozen, and then Saturday is Zombies 3. These are subject to change at any given time, right? So it's best to just check the recreation board in the lobby when you check in. We also have nightly campfires at the fire pit near the Riviera Pool between 6 and 7 p.m. That's nightly. Complimentary marshmallows, as always, and s'mores kit are available for purchase. At the pool, they have daily poolside activities between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. These are led by cast members. And they have the Starlight Soiree on Fridays between 8 and 9:30, which is essentially late night activities, I guess you could say, on the pool deck. For paid activities, you have the Eventi Room, which is open Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays from 1 to 10 p.m. And then Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then here you're able to essentially create your very own arts and crafts that you can take home with you. Again, this is a paid experience.
Yeah, that's right. And then on Sundays and Tuesdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., you have Art de la Mosaïque. This is an instructor-led experience where you're going to be able to create your very own mosaic art piece. Note that reservations are required for this one, and it's recommended for guests aged 12 and up. And then on Thursdays between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., there is an instructor-led painting class. Same thing. Reservations are required, and this is recommended for older children as well, ages 12 and up. So aside from that, there are lawn games on the ground in the back of the resort, or you can just take a leisure walk around Barefoot Bay as well. And then you can go explore into the Caribbean Beach Resort grounds as well, because they are walking distance. We've done that a few times.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you also have the Athletic Fitness Center if you are looking to get a workout in during your stay. It's actually a very nice gym overall there.
Yeah, it's bigger than most other resorts, I would say.
It's very nice. We've walked by it before.
Yeah, it overlooks the back of the resort. Yeah. All right, with that, let's talk location and transportation. So like we were saying earlier, it's in the Epcot area of property. That's how Disney classifies it. But really, it's pretty much right in the middle of Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and it's a super quick ride on the Skyliner to either of these parks. It's also literally right next to the Caribbean Beach Resort, so it's a quick walk over there, like Lucy was saying. The resort has its own Skyliner station, though, so you can either take that to the Epcot park, right? So they have their very own Epcot line that's going to take you straight there, or you can take the Hollywood Studios line that's going to have you transfer at Caribbean Beach. Another option, though, is just to walk to the Caribbean Beach station from the Riviera, right, to on your Hollywood Studios day if you intend to rope drop. And then you can skip the transfer altogether and then just essentially you can get there that much faster, right? It's about a 10-minute walk or so from the Riviera station to the Caribbean Beach station, depending on how quickly you walk. You can be a little bit faster or a little bit longer. But yeah, like that's definitely like when we say
that's
walking,
what we would do.
Exactly. When we say walking distance, it's really not that far. So it's definitely an option.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's bus transportation to Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, and Disney Springs. This is a small resort, so there is only one bus stop, which is nice. And then note that if the Skyliner goes down for any reason, the resort does dispatch buses to get you to Hollywood Studios or to Epcot. The nice thing about the Riviera is that it's actually pretty centrally located with good access to two parks and then just a quick Skyliner ride over to the boardwalk area. That also has a ton of solid dining options. While it's not super close to the parks like the Yacht and Beach Club are or the monorail resorts are, it's still very well connected, which is a huge pro for this resort.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And now let's get into some just general pros and cons. So pros are pretty clear, right? It's a beautiful resort. It has upscale boutique kind of hotel vibes, not unlike what you could find in a European city, I would say. It has some solid dining options, including our very favorite character meal on property. We've said it a lot, but it's true. It's nice and compact, so it doesn't take much time to find anything on property, including the buses and the Skyliner stations. And yeah, it's just generally really well connected because of that, with quick access to both Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and then by extension, the boardwalk area as well.
Absolutely. For cons, it is a deluxe resort, or rather a DVC property, and prices reflect that. So you're going to be hard-pressed to find a room for anything less than $500 a night outside of the Tower Studios during the quietest time of year. You could look into renting DVC points to save you a bit on your stay if you wish to go that route. It's not overly Disney themed either, which honestly could be a pro, but if you are wanting that in-your-face Disney experience, this is definitely not going to have that for you.
It doesn't have those vibes. No.
Exactly.
Yep.
But it does have bus transportation to Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, and Disney Springs, which, as you know, has never been a problem for us because we don't mind it. But we always mention this just because we do know that there are some folks that aren't the biggest fans of the buses.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really the only two options, right? It's Skyliner or buses. So we'll close with our final thoughts. So we do love Riviera, right? It's a beautiful resort, great food, great transportation options, and we like how compact it is, right? It just feels easy to navigate because of that. And again, I know we always pick on Caribbean Beach, but like it's right next door, right? So from the top floors, you can have a really good view of just how huge Caribbean Beach is.
And your Skyliner trip over top of it will show you, oh my gosh, this place is huge.
And again, not bad. We like Caribbean Beach
No, we love it. Yeah.
But Riviera is just nice because everything is right there.
Absolutely. It is a very pretty resort, very well manicured and maintained. We love even just visiting here to eat. Like we said, we go to Topolino's every single trip, really. And we ate at Bar Riva on our last trip. So we do like to go there a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So would we recommend a stay here? Yes, absolutely. Right. It's good for families with young kids, given how close everything is, but it also has those kind of elevated vibes, which could appeal to kind of adult only parties as well, or guests just looking for a more like kind of subdued Disney resort experience while still staying in a Disney owned and operated resort. And then, of course, something to just be mindful of is it's quite expensive, right? So it's going to price out a lot of folks. But if it's in the budget, we think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. And, you know, we've talked about renting DVC points before, but that can take something that's just out of reach and make it in reach. So
absolutely.
Always something to consider.
Yeah, we have rented DVC points before too.
Yeah, we've done it twice.
And it allowed us to stay at very nice resorts that we normally would not want to pay out of pocket for.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're paying out of pocket, but full price out of pocket.
Like, for example, Polly, you could easily, like when we went, it was April, May. So it would be probably close to $1,000 to stay there per night, just like standard room. And I think it was less than $500 a night.
Yeah. So it was a huge win for us.
Yeah, agreed. With that said, thank you for joining us today to talk Disney's Riviera Resort. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And as always, if you could leave us a rating and review, it would be greatly appreciated. If you choose to do so, you can leave reviews right on Apple Podcasts. And for Spotify, you can leave a rating.
You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Let's Go.to-Disney, as well as on our Facebook page, Let's Go to Disney. We share some helpful reels here as well as some fun ones. The link tree in the show notes will take you to all of our socials.
Have a great day, and we'll see you real soon.